Hey there, summer is right around the corner and I am so excited to be sharing some of my family's all-time favorite summer dinners with you. I hope you enjoy these recipes and let's jump over to my kitchen and let's start cooking. We're getting started out today by making this street corn chicken and it is so good. In this medium bowl, I'm adding 2 cans of drained sweet corn, followed by 1/4 cup of mayonnaise and 1/4 cup of some sour cream. To give this plenty of flavor, I'm adding in a teaspoon of some chili powder and the juice from 1/2 of a lime. Give this a really good stir. Over to my greased casserole dish, I'm just going to lay my 3 medium-sized chicken breasts right in there. You're going to want to season the chicken with a little bit of some garlic powder, salt, and pepper on each side. The next thing you're going to do is pour the corn mixture all over the top of the chicken breasts, and then place this in a preheated oven to bake on 350 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes or until your chicken reaches 165 degrees internally. While I have the chicken cooking away in the oven, I'm going to be showing you how I make one of the side dishes, which is just some white rice. I love making it in the Instant Pot, so I'll show you how I do it. Just add a tablespoon of olive oil, 2 cups of white rice with 2 cups of water, and then I press the rice button, and it seriously comes out perfect every single time. So now that my chicken's completely cooked through, I'm just going to sprinkle some of this queso fresco cheese on top with cherry tomatoes, jalapenos, cilantro, and lime. Those are the toppings that I chose to top my chicken with, but you could top yours with whatever. And then of course I served it on a bed of some of the white rice we cooked in the Instant Pot. This came out so good. It had so much great flavor. I think you'd like this one. This Orzo lemon chicken brings me right back to the summer every single time I make it. In my large pot, I have a tablespoon of hot olive oil. I added my 1 pound of cubed chicken. Just season it with a little bit of some salt and pepper and cook this chicken completely through. While it is cooking, I'm going to move over to my cutting board and cut up my 1 pound of asparagus into 1-inch pieces and go ahead and dice 1/2 of an onion up as well. So now that my chicken's cooked, I'm just going to remove it to a separate plate and set this plate to the side. To the same large pot that we just cooked the chicken in, I'm going to be adding an additional tablespoon of some olive oil. Once it's hot, go ahead and add the onion that we just diced up in. Stir this around for about a minute or 2 until your onion softens. Once the onion has softened down, go ahead and add in your 1 cup of Orzo along with a couple teaspoons of some minced garlic. Let this saute together for an additional minute or 2. After you add in your tablespoon of Italian seasoning and 2 1/4 cup of chicken broth, put your lid on and let this simmer for about 5 minutes. After it is through simmering, add your asparagus in, give this a really good stir, and then put the lid back on top and let this simmer for about 5 more minutes. After those 5 minutes, your Orzo should look nice and fluffy like this and the asparagus should be cooked. I just added in 3 cups of fresh spinach. That is optional. You don't have to add that in if you don't care for spinach. And the juice from 1/2 of a lemon. Also add the chicken that is cooked back in. Give this a really good stir and let the spinach wilt down, and then it is ready to serve. Here's the finished product. I'm sure you could have guessed it, but I sprinkled the top with plenty of some Parmesan cheese. This came out so good. I really love how simple it is to throw together. And like I said previously, this definitely reminds me of summer every single time I make it. We have to make classic hamburgers and potato salad. This is my favorite potato salad recipe ever. It's my mom's recipe. I have 9 smaller to medium-sized russet potatoes. I peeled them and cubed them into bite-sized pieces. I'm just going to place them into a large pot of some boiling water, and I'm going to let these potatoes cook for about 8 to 9 minutes or until they're fork tender. You don't want to overcook them though. So now that they are cooked, I'm just going to strain them, and I am pouring some cold water over the top of them just to have them cool down a little bit quicker. After I place the potatoes in a large bowl, I'm going to cover them with a half a cup of some Italian dressing. You could use any type of Italian dressing you like, and then give this a really good stir. Let the dressing get coated in the potatoes, and I just think that's the secret ingredient to make this potato salad so good. These potatoes are going to marinate in the Italian dressing for 2 hours in the refrigerator. After a couple hours of having the potatoes marinate in the fridge, I'm going to be chopping up the rest of the ingredients: 6 baby dill pickles, 3 stalks of celery, and 1 smaller sized onion. So now to the potatoes, I'm adding 1/4 cup of sour cream and then 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. Typically, I add in 3 hard-boiled eggs at this point, but I was just so busy on that day, I totally forgot to make the hard-boiled eggs, so I was mad at myself. But anyways, add the hard-boiled eggs in if you remember to make them. I also added in a tablespoon of mustard, a tablespoon of dill pickle juice, and all the ingredients that we just chopped up with a dash of some salt and pepper. Give this a really good stir and then let this refrigerate for an additional hour. I do want to show you one of my all-time favorite ways to make some homemade hamburgers. I have a pound of some ground beef. I'm adding 1/2 tablespoon of some Worcestershire sauce to the ground beef. Next, you'll want to add 1.5 teaspoons of this ranch dressing seasoning mix with 1.5 teaspoons of some steak seasoning. I chose to use the McCormick steak seasoning. And go ahead and mix this all together. I'm using my meat masher. I love my meat masher. I'll go ahead and link it down below in my description box for you. And then I just formed these into hamburger patties, and my husband grilled them up on the barbecue grill. So here's a finished product, the potato salad out of the fridge. And I didn't have very many toppings to top the hamburgers with on that particular night. I don't even know why. I didn't even have cheese on hand. I know that's crazy, but this was delicious. These barbecue chicken wraps and coleslaw are so good. We're going to start on the coleslaw first. So into this bowl, I just added 4 tablespoons of mayonnaise along with a tablespoon of some sour cream, just a dash of some pepper, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, and 1/2 teaspoon of some regular sugar. Go ahead and give this a really good stir. Now that this is well combined, I'm going to be adding the remainder of the ingredients in. So 1/2 of a white onion that I thinly sliced, 1 shredded carrot. For the cabbage, I'm using 1/2 of a green cabbage that I thinly sliced, but you could use a purple cabbage if that's what you prefer. I'm giving this a really good stir, and then I'm going to place it in my refrigerator. To my hot pan with a couple teaspoons of some olive oil, I added my 1 large chicken breast that I sliced in half horizontally so it appears as 2 chicken breasts. I'm going to season it on both sides with some paprika, salt, pepper, and some onion powder and garlic powder. Once my chicken is completely cooked, I'm going to be brushing a little bit of some barbecue sauce on each side and let the barbecue sauce cook on for about a minute or 2. So now that it is finished on my wrap, I'm just adding the cooked chicken with a couple scoops of the coleslaw and just a little bit of some spinach. I also poured some more barbecue sauce on top, and these chicken wraps are so good. You could add whatever sauce you like to them, but they have so much great flavor, and that crunch from the coleslaw is outstanding. If you're looking for a good coleslaw recipe, I definitely recommend this one. I really love coming up with new salmon recipes, so now we're making some Parmesan lemon salmon. To this little bowl, I just added 1 teaspoon of some brown sugar along with 1/2 of the juice from 1 lemon, 1/4 cup of freshly chopped parsley. If you don't have that on hand, you could just add 1 teaspoon of dried parsley or just skip the parsley altogether, 3 teaspoons of minced garlic, 1/2 teaspoon of some garlic salt, and a shake of some pepper. Whisk this all together. On my pan lined with some foil, I did spray it with nonstick spray. I placed my 4 salmon fillets on there. I did drizzle the top of the salmon with a little bit of some olive oil, and then I added that parsley mixture that we just made up. I'm just going to brush the parsley mixture with my hand all over the salmon fillets, and then the last thing I actually did was add a total of 1/4 cup of some Parmesan cheese on the very top. This is going to bake on 450 for about 12 to 15 minutes. and here's the finished product. I just served this with some seasoned rice and a side salad. This salmon is so good. One of my daughter's favorite foods is actually salmon, so I try to make it as much as I possibly can. This day was Easter, so I just made the traditional Easter meal that my family likes to do. So just a ham with a honey glaze, deviled eggs, green bean casserole, mashed potatoes with plenty of gravy, and then for dessert I made a big carrot cake and it was delicious. And that is a wrap of this video today. I hope you found a recipe that you might be able to make for yourself. As always, if you are new here, I'd absolutely love to have you. So go ahead and subscribe down below the video and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.